If you've been a Mega Man fan for long enough, you may remember what I like to call the darkest times of the franchise, from between 2010 to 2017. 2010 being the year that Keiji Inafune left Capcom, and 2017 being the year that Mega Man 11 was announced. While he may be a controversial figure today, Keiji Inafune was a significant driving force behind the Mega Man franchise for years. When he left the company, Capcom was really unsure of where to take the series next. During that time, we had several in-development games get cancelled. We got Mega Man in a fighting game, and Mega Man in a different fighting game. We got some collections, ports, and merchandise, but no new official games. Mega Man's 25th anniversary came in December of 2012, with Capcom not announcing or releasing a new game in time. Technically. See, at EVO 2012, an indie developer named, sorry I'm gonna butcher this, Seo Zong Hui, showed an unfinished build of his Mega Man fan project to the Capcom executive, Christian Svensson, who thought it was promising enough to spruce up and release in time for the 25th anniversary. The game in question was Street Fighter Cross Mega Man. It would be released as a free downloadable game off the internet. The reason Capcom gave for this was that it was an early Christmas present. Yeah, sure. Okay, Capcom. More like, you know you couldn't charge money for a glorified fan game after burning all your goodwill in 2012. Although I sound jaded now, at the time I was actually pretty excited for this. I had gotten into the series with Mega Man Starforce 3 on the DS, and then the classic series with Mega Man 10 for XBLA in 2011. I was there for all the news about the cancellations, and yeah, they were a big disappointment at the time. But to hear Capcom was releasing a brand new game, albeit a fan game with their seal of approval on it and only on PC, I was still pretty hyped. Did I mention I was also only 14 years old at the time? You gotta give a lot of credit to Seo here. This was originally an independent fan game, and I think if it was released as such, people may have judged it a little less harshly. As an indie dev working on a game probably for no pay in his free time, I believe he executed his game pretty well. However, reflecting on it as a Mega Man fan in 2012, it actually sounds a little depressing to describe, and I have to admit, it's not a game I return to very often in the series. It's a competent project, challenging, the Street Fighter bosses and weapons are well represented. I think it's just by 2012 we had so many games doing the retro trend like this, but much better, including Super Meat Boy, Fez, and even Capcom's own Mega Man 9 and 10. I also believe the game being PC only and free didn't necessarily help with the image. While it was nice Capcom gave it away, I think the fact that it wasn't ported to consoles where a majority of Mega Man fans had played the series prior, it made it just feel like a cheap fan project. It's not a bad game by any means. It just had the misfortune of coming out when people were hungry for Mega Man after a warpath of cancelled games with a budget. One of the few things that bothered myself personally about it was that it was a digital-only release. I've talked about it before, but I've always liked collecting video games physically, and the fact that I could never own a legit copy of this game always kinda irked me. It made me feel like it didn't really count as part of the series. I felt the same way with Mega Man 9 and 10, but eventually those were ported to the Legacy Collection Volume 2. Still, even with all the re-releases and ports, Street Fighter Cross Mega Man was never ported, and there was never a physical release to satiate my collecting hunger. But what if I was wrong? What if I told you this game technically did get a physical release, and it wasn't on a DVD or a Blu-ray or even a CD-ROM? It was on USB. In late February 2013, only a few months after the release of the game in December 2012, a few gaming news outlets reported about an item that would go up for sale in the Capcom Unity web store the following week. It was a USB drive themed after the iconic Mega Buster, and it would include the following: digital copies of a few Mega Man comics, the tribute art book, the Mega Man X Complete Works, the Street Fighter Cross Mega Man soundtrack, some wallpapers, and a link to the Street Fighter Cross Mega Man game. On March 5th, 2013, the USB drive went up for sale in the Capcom Unity store and presumably sold out sometime that year. There's a video or two on YouTube of people unboxing it from back then, and that was pretty much it. I haven't heard anybody talk about it since then. And somehow I missed all of this back in 2013. I think after I was finished with the game at the end of 2012, I kind of shut my brain off surrounding Mega Man for a little bit, and I moved on to other games at the time like Black Ops 2 Zombies and its DLC. Yeah, I know, like I said, I was 14 years old. It wasn't until years later, around 2016, when I was revisiting the Mega Man franchise after came out, and I remembered this game. I did some research to see if a port or physical copy was eventually made, and I came across these articles. Of course, the USB drive was no longer in stock, and I immediately went to eBay, only to find nothing. I remember thinking I would keep an eye out, and if anything popped up in the coming years, I would consider buying it. Nothing ever popped up. Until earlier this year. I was browsing search topics from my phone about it again, until I found an eBay listing for one. The odd thing was it wouldn't allow me to purchase it from a phone, so I went to my PC at home, sent the seller an offer, and they accepted. You may be asking, how much did I pay for this? And my answer is, far too much for a USB drive. Definitely more than the original $20 asking price, and to be honest, a little embarrassing to admit, so I'm not going to, but I figured it would be worth buying for the sake of this video. So now that I have it, let's take a look at it. Here it is, the elusive Mega Man USB Buster. Comes in this little box here. Get a good look at the side. This is the back and the other side. Up top it says Capcom Store exclusive. We know that to be true. 8 gigabytes. And the back says over $100 in value. And then it shows out the features, access to the game, soundtrack, wallpaper, comics, and then the art books. So go ahead and box this really quick. I have obviously opened this before, but comes with a set of instructions, which is talking about the links that are actually on the USB drive. So there's the Mega Buster, and it's pretty well designed, I would say. The detail's nice. It's only the charge gauge is only on one side, so one side is kind of basically empty. But it's a nice detailed Buster, especially I think this side as well. The cap's a little hard to peel off sometimes, so you kind of gotta like wiggle it to get it off all the way. There you go. The inside of the cap says Capcom on it, which is funny because it's a cap. Now, as cool as it looks, one of the biggest problems with this is obviously how thick it is. This is going to be hard to fit into a lot of people's setups, whether you got a USB port on the side or the back, or it's kind of tucked in away somewhere. So to solve that problem, you get something like this, which is a USB extension cord. So then we can take the USB, plug it into this guy, and this goes into the computer. And I'm going to do that. In the USB directory, we have the included PDF files for the aforementioned comic books, Tribute art book, Mega Man X Complete Works, the Street Fighter X Mega Man soundtrack, and lastly, a weblock link for the Street Fighter X Mega Man game. Yes, technically the USB drive did not have a build of the game on it. I know. I spent money on an overpriced physical game that doesn't actually have the game on it, but don't worry, we'll fix that soon. Weblock links are formatted for a Mac. We'll have to put it into a converter like this. And when we click the link, this still works. Now we can download the game and put the exe on the root of the flash drive like it should be. Then we can launch the game and play it directly off the drive without installing it. Maybe it's finally time I revisit this game. While it may not be my favorite in the series, and it may have been a little disappointing at the time, today I can appreciate this game for the passion that was clearly present from the original dev, as well as it keeping the Mega Man franchise alive until we were able to move on to more higher budget outings. I'll post a link to the game in the description if you didn't get to play it back in the day. Did any one of you have these or have a story about one? Please share down below if you did. I'd be interested if anyone had any more info about it. Thanks for watching.